Hey, thank you. Well, I was excited because we got the blue screen, and I was going to figure out why, because I have a program that was supposed to be recording the computer's temperature and voltage, but it I didn't hit the record button, so now it is set up good. So hopefully next time it happens, I should be able to pinpoint why it's happening. Hopefully. Working on a old machine. It's gonna have some hiccups here. That was what, 2 hours into the stream. Hey, what's up, Elevated? Try to get my reference back up here. Who crashed? I'm using, let's see, what's this called? HW Info. That's what I'm using. So it's monitoring all the temperature and voltage. Basically, I'm trying to figure out, is it overheating that's causing it, or is it like the power supply, because it is an older computer going bad. It wouldn't have crashed if you enslaved cosplay, just saying. What does it do? It blue screens, has a sad face, says it says the error, but it's all in German, so I can't tell you what it actually says. So but it's the sad, this side's my frowny face with windows. So you think it's hardware? It could be software. I think the computer's gotten old enough that like you can't update the drivers on a lot of things. So could be a software thing. I'm not sure. I just want to rule out other things. Memory or storage problem. I mean, the main drive is pretty full. Oh, okay, I'll check it out. Let me punch that in here. Is it a solid state drive? I think so. I think it might be. No, it looks like the main drive is a regular hard drive, and then there is a solid state. There's two. Well, one of them, I think the one with the windows on it, is pretty full. Hard disk, yeah, exactly. So I'm wondering if I should move all the files I have, or anything that I can move over to the other one to see if that fixes it. Let me see here. Okay. Sticky. I'm gonna make a sticky note, so I'll download that program you said later. You could try disconnect one of them at a time and see if it goes away. It might be set up that way. I'm not sure. Let's see. Let's see. I think I can see here. Oh, it doesn't really say. Looks like 2 terabytes on, or no, like almost 2 terabytes on the other one. This one's 232 gigabytes. That's pretty small. I imagine that's not. I bet you that one is the solid state. So the Windows is on the solid state, but that's the one that's almost full. Only has 17 gigs free. I don't know. Try disconnecting the one that doesn't have the system on it. Could be worth a shot. Yeah. I'm sure I'll figure it out by the time I leave here, and then... No. He doesn't... The thing is, the Saradini, he doesn't really need... This computer is decent. It really is. It's just older. It's well maintained, and it's for what he uses it for. It's totally fine. You know, he does like web browsing. You know, I just show up here with like high powered cameras and microphones and Stream Deck and all that stuff, and so I'm taking his like simple, humble life computer and just plugging in a million USB things and running a stream on it. It's just pushing it, you know. Okay, let me get the reference going, and then we'll get started here. USB, yeah, and I know there's issues with, and I did add an upgrade of a USB hub, internal USB hub with the PCIe, like, you know, the one that plugs into the graphics card slot. One of those. Could be that. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. Possibly. Yeah. Well, that's one thing I was thinking, is that the power supply is just not able to handle the all the USB devices plus the using of the computer at a higher level for the running the stream. But with the diagnostic tool, I should be able to see that's what's wait, what was that? Okay, there we go. Got it written down. Anyways, hopefully it behaves. Oh wait, okay. I bet you the shirt cam's not gonna be around, so you have to reset the shirt cam every time. Hey, what's up, Funka? Yeah, I don't have a phone. Me and the missus pretty much share a phone, so she's got the phone. I got nothing. Always, yeah, they have a little QR code thing when the window pops up. I checked the like crash report and plugged in the errors that came up, but it was basically, it just says that Windows had to shut down in a normal way, but it doesn't specify the reason, so why it happens. Okay, let's see. Let me re-add the camera. Hey, what's up, Mr. Korvik? Good morning. Put this in here. I think it says Windows 10. It's not Windows 11. It's not it's like past the. It's not allowed to get updates for like graphics card anymore, and it's no longer covered on the software side. Yeah. Oh yes. It was funny. The first day I got on this at this time, there was so many familiar faces. Mostly all I can tell because we don't really gain any new followers during this time, which is which means everybody that's here is people that already follow for the most part. So all familiar groups. Let's see. Okay. Hopefully this works. Okay, it does good. Every time this PC restarts, I have to reset up the camera. It's an addiction. All right, now we're good. It's an addiction. Or we couldn't sleep, or now we're good. You wake up very early. One of those scenarios. Or we couldn't sleep, or you wake up very early. One of those scenarios. Oh, yeah, hold on. Forgot that part. Well, I have the case open, so I know there's no mouse in there. It's very clean in there. Very German kept PC. I had the case open because it did feel like it does get a little bit on the hotter side in that case. Trying to rule out if it's an overheating thing. But I don't think so. It's either software or I think power. PCU. Hey. Hi, Satami. Glad to have you with us on this day off of yours. Hey, what's up, hummingbird? Couldn't sleep, so here you are. Good. Germany's been nice. A pleasant visit so far. Lots of laughs and good food and good drink. Oh yeah, I've been to some castles for sure. There's so many out here. There's this there's this place kind of up the mountain from here that was an old U.S. military bunker site. So it's like all these bunkers that the military is not operating in anymore. So they rent them out to people that want to use them for whatever, you know. And my brother-in-law, his buddies have one of those bunkers, and they use it as like an auto shop place to like work on cars, especially in the wintertime. It's pretty cool. Those old World War II time sites still being used, but for other reasons now.
Greetings, fellow adventurer. We've got everything you need to rest and refuel.
Mr. Korvik. Hey, thank you so much, man. Thank you for your continued support. 20 months? 4 more months, Mr. Korvik, till you're stuck here forever. Been warned. You've been warned. It is no shame to pause at a crossroads and check your compass. That's a really good one. How many times do people make decisions out of being pressured or fear? Always leads to the wrong one. Take time to make crossroads decisions. have a favorite German dish. Literally the whole month I'm here, I eat a different dish each day. So it's really hard to pick. And they're all great. That's hard to say. Yeah, just this one, just this piece. We had to push this one through anyways because it's got a December deadline fast approaching. So it was the perfect opportunity to just get some quality time in on this one. Is it worth the hype? It is. Yeah, it's really good. It's always the first and the last meal we have when we're here. The troll head's been painted. One of them is finished. She's probably working on the second one right now. Do I have any form of OCD? I don't actually. Quite the opposite. Pretty laxed about stuff like that. No, not really. Not my, not an issue. Sometimes worries for things try to creep in, but don't let them. The mind is a garden, and you can decide what you let grow there. The wind will blow in seeds of weeds and thorns. But you can remove those and plant fruit trees instead. Just have to be a diligent gardener. That's all. The work is never done. Yeah, I think so. Oops.
Listen closely, traveler, to what I say. Twitch Prime does not even cost a dime.
Hey, Mr. Total Chaos, thank you very much for the 18 months of Prime. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for hitting that button for me. I feel like there are probably higher rates of neurodiverse people in streaming and content creation. And there is an art. Oh, then there is an art. What does that mean? Neurodiverse. I'm not sure what that is. People who don't talk about football and going to their in-laws' place, basically. Oh yeah, so non-muggles. Gotcha. Muggle things. Speaking of muggle things. Sports ball. Sports ball nerds. People with autism and ADHD. Oh. Wait, that are our streamers or watching streams? Both. Yeah, maybe. There is an aspect of today's culture that definitely almost takes pride in a diagnosis. Becomes a unique thing that identifies them. And I'm not so sure how I feel about that. I mean, I suffer from severe optimism, which would cause me to not let something that I'm diagnosed with define me. But instead, I would consider it a thing to overcome. Severe, yeah, it's a problem. Severe optimism is a problem. Has to be constantly tamed, checked, and grounded in reality. It's true. Severe optimism. It's done great things for me, don't get me wrong. Also can be a hindrance. Has to be tamed. That taming came in the form of my wife because she has a more of a pessimistic approach. So we balance each other out. Lots of Germans do. Yeah, exactly. It's the default mindset of the Germans for sure. Your guys' system makes you this way. So some of which is severe pessimism, severely pessimistic, which is bad as well. Very hard to step outside of the box if you're a pessimist. To go somewhere someone has never gone before, to be so bold is to do something that isn't normal. The missus, I'd say I've rubbed off on her quite a bit though when it comes to not being more open, not it being a super pessimist. But she helps keep me grounded into reality with things. So. The best ideas are when you come up with the really crazy idea that's like, all the way up here. And then you take it back a few notches, and that's like the happy spot, It's like, okay, crazy, come up with the crazy idea with the severe optimism, right? And ambition and creativity all kind of rolled into one. And then ground it into reality. That's where the pessimist comes in and says, well, instead of saying this can't work, let's say, how can we make this work, Have to use those tools. Balance, that's right. But when I look back at my life and how things have played out, I'm very thankful for my my optimism, because I've done a lot of things that most people would not even attempt to try to do, because it just seems crazy, And things don't tend to work very well if you don't believe that they'll work or that they can work. Yo, question. I see that you do model in one piece, not segmented in this case. How do you, I don't actually, so it is segmented. So the only part that's sculpted right now is this kind of hip region here, right where the hips are, and the back. So all the rest of this has been front part air. All this has been hardened. So basically, once I get done with this back piece, I'm gonna bake this again and lock it in. And then, so the whole thing goes back in the oven. It gets cooked. That locks in this section, and then I'm able to continue creating without messing up my previous work. Yeah, lots of layers for sure. Yeah. Okay, that's good for the trimming. Now we got to do a little ornate design in here. Is there anything that helps by diagnosis helps you understand why? Right. Yeah. Just sometimes I feel that things can be overcome, and that you'll see a lot where people almost give up on trying because of a diagnosis, you know. To over, you know, like, oh well, it's this thing, and there's just nothing I can do about it, you know. And that's not good. I don't like seeing that. Again, there's the optimism, right? How do you segment the parts? Like, how do I figure out how to do it? Or do I, basically with this clay, you can bake it many, many times. So all I do is when I want this to be hardened here, all this, I put it in the oven and I heat it back up, and that will lock it in, and then I'm able to add on the next layer. Sure. Yeah, that's what I mean. Exactly. That's good. Basically. Uh, oh yes, I do that as well with certain pieces where like arms will come off, or even the head, and there's a process for doing that. This one's pretty much gonna be this one. The hair is gonna come off, and the way I'll do that is I'll paint on this solution right here. So patience with yourself. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's important. I'll paint this solution on, and this creates a layer, a very thin layer of a membrane that will stop future clay from permanently sticking to the sculpture. So I'll paint her head with this solution, let it dry, and then I'll sculpt the hair right onto the head. And then when I bake it, I'm gonna be able to remove the hair just like that. So. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of different ways to make detachable pieces, but that's just one of them. So. No, I haven't. I heard they were making one. I didn't know they came out with it yet. I'll have to check it out. You do like it, okay? Yeah, it's always interesting to see what other sculptors, how their approach is, can help refine, and we all have different pieces of the puzzle, you know. Find the golden gems, the golden nuggets. Okay. Some smaller stuff going on the front here we gotta do next. Great for inspiration, yeah. What do they talk about in the book? Is it kind of a mix of everything, or is it like technique, or is it just like a book, kind of that it's like their story? Have you picked up on a vibe of people in Germany? Oh yeah, for sure. Completely different culture and vibe for sure than America. Some of it better, some of it worse. They be vibing in Germany for sure. They got that German vibe. German techno vibe. Huh. Hyper consumerists. Yeah, I mean, I mean, what do you mean by that? They just buy a lot of stuff? I'd say it's just as much in Germany, but a different flavor, if that makes sense. You know? People are more careful with, most people are more careful with their money, I think, in Germany. But I think it's out of necessity because of the system that they're in. Essentially requires it of them. Also, like, gas is twice as expensive here as it is in the States. So people don't just drive around to leisure cruise, you know. Germans can be quite creatures of efficiency. Again, I think out of necessity and just kind of generationally, they've had to be that way. And as far as how they buy things, they're very careful about what they buy and are more critical of things. So the products here tend to be better because the companies can't get away with making an inferior product because no one will buy it because everyone's picky. So I find efficient, walkable towns and cities to be very charming. Yeah? Yeah, like I said, there's good and bad for sure. It's also harder to get rid of stuff here, so you're less likely to buy something the burden of things can be quite burdensome here. They also don't really do small talk here. If you've never been here, Benjamin, they don't really. They kind of mean mug each other. It's funny that they're like mean mugging, and nobody's talking to anybody that they don't actually know. And then all of a sudden, you'll see somebody like with their, German grocery store scowl. And all of a sudden, they see somebody they know. It's like, they like light up and blah, 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 and start talking back and forth. Meanwhile, I'm the guy going through the grocery store. I do the thing where, like, you're coming at me in the aisle, and I go left right when you go left, and then I go right when you go right, and then a few times, and then laugh it off. Oh man. It just happens automatically. I don't even think about it. But like every time it'll happen. Boop, boop, boop. It's like an introvert's worst nightmare to encounter me at the other end of an aisle. Sorry. Can't help it. It only amplified when I became a dad. It got worse. So it's a dad thing, I guess. That's funny. I was at a German grocery store here, and I always love going to the grocery store to just like it's a small village in the middle of nowhere. It's not common they get like people from America here, so just like talking to the cashier and being like, "Hey, how you doing?" And kind of catches them off guard. But me and my father-in-law were at the grocery store the other day, a different one, and I did the same thing I normally do and say hello, how you doing, little bit small talk, not much, but the guy responded with like really great English, sounded like super good. Say, hey, yeah, have a nice day. And I'm like, man, I said, your English is really good. He's like, I'm from Missouri. Like, oh, what are you doing here? This like village of 400 people working at a grocery store. Guy's from Missouri. I didn't ask him really why or how, but it's just kind of funny. One of those small world moments. Time to exchange numbers, yeah. It's very common. People have parents from the military. That there's a lot of U.S. military presence in Germany. Now, one thing I've been noticing is a slow rollout of American culture in Germany, specifically football. I know Simon Lee. Yeah, he's really he's a good inspiration. Awesome guy. That's a good one. Also, things like Halloween, I think, are becoming more common here. Didn't used to be a thing here too much. At least you probably don't leave your shopping cart parked sideways in every path. Oh, no. No, it's not the parking the cart sideways. It's you park your cart on one side and then you're shopping on the other side, literally taking up the whole aisle. That's the one that's like, really? Is this what we're doing here? This is what's happening here? I have a lot of art heroes to speak of. Do you have any art heroes? I wouldn't say heroes. There were a few folks I looked up to, especially when I was just getting started. But looking at them not as heroes, but as examples of what's possible and trying to glean as much information from them as possible. So, Steve Wang is one. Simon Lee. This guy named Mark Newman. Really awesome polymer clay artist. One of the best for sure. And also not just sculpting artists, but like other art forms too. Like the wisdom applies to every form, especially with dealing with um, doing it for work and stuff like that. One that I can specifically think of that I listened to a lot of was Trent. Oh boy, what's his last name? He makes a lot of videos on YouTube. He's a concept artist for like League of Legends and World of Warcraft and two-dimensional digital art. But Trent Katuma or something like that. But he does a lot of videos where he gets into these like deeper monologues talking about the industry and working as an artist and kind of the more of the mind game behind that. And a lot of what he says can apply to any sort of art form. So, right, yeah. But lately, I find myself kind of just flowing in on my own, down my own path. And a lot of it has to do with just not having as much time as I used to when it comes to like keeping tabs on everybody and seeing what everyone's up to and what they're doing. Working as an artist is probably a commentary on survival. Well, not from his perspective, because he's coming from he worked in the industry as a concept artist type of perspective, and just getting into more of the being an artist, but also tuning your art to being an efficient model, a model of efficiency, because there's no way to get ahead in life as an artist if you're not doing you're not working efficiently, so. I don't know. There's a lot of things I get from like just people of all sorts of walk of life, and there's a thing about real wisdom is it can be applied to any kind of any trade or walk of life. And everyone has something to offer. I call it chewing the meat and spitting out the bones, when you're listening and seeking that wisdom through others, there's always parts that are beneficial and good for you, and then other parts that aren't. That's those the bones, so. That's where the having that student mentality is very important. Otherwise, your mind won't be open for absorbing the good stuff, even if it's right in front of you. As soon as you get the idea you know better than somebody, you're not going to hear what they say, even if they're shouting you in the face with it. So it's better not to think that and to hear what people have to say and then ponder on that. Side to working professionally as an artist is you spend time doing art. Downside is it's time constrained and on rails. Yeah, exactly. But there's pros and cons because you don't get to decide what you do and you tend to work quite hard. But I tell you what, working for yourself is very hard too. You work a lot. I would argue even more than if you're working for somebody. It's just the whole being told what to do, when, where, how, and in what time frame. That's the trade-off. But the positive thing is the stability and the having benefits and working for a company, stuff like that. So really just depends on the individual, really. It's also not very easy to get into a position. I think it's easier to get a job working for somebody, growing a skill and getting a job working for somebody, than to grow a skill and figure out a way to build something new yourself. Definitely the harder road. That's true. That's true. What I mean by stability is the regimented paychecks. Like, I'm getting paid such and such on such and such day. That kind of stuff. But yeah, I get what you're saying, especially with the AI and everything, wiping out whole industries left and right. Can you please give any tips and tricks on symmetry, especially when it comes to intricate design and details? Using guidelines is really important. So like drawing, you can see the trace of my center line here. But drawing the center line here and then paying attention to the silhouette of the shape and making sure it's even. You can do more than just one center line. You could do like grids almost. And the lines will help you see things being off. And you eventually train your eye. It's a struggle, and the struggle is always kind of there. It does get easier though, the more you kind of are training your eye to see things symmetrical. A lot of the difficulty too with sculpting symmetry is that when you do something on this side, you're using a very specific tool stroke. And when you go to the other side, you can't use the same tool stroke unless you turn it upside down. Now I can use the same one, so there's an element of you need to do things symmetrically, but also on the other side you have to figure out how to do them differently because you're using kind of a different perspective, different tool motion. Also, be aware that your eyes will play tricks on you. And you can untrick your eye by stepping away from the piece and getting fresh eyes, or looking at it through the eyes of a camera or through a mirror, or turning it upside down will also help. So it just kind of untricks your eye to see. What happened to your thumb? Just a little damaged. Just a little damaged. How you doing, sus? I love sculpting. I just hate working with wires. Like the armature wire. I think a lot of people despise that armature step at the beginning, but it's important. It is literally the foundation to your work. Having others look at it, yeah, that can help. You have to be loose too. Like it's so easy to get really tight on the work where like you place things, you're not too sure if the positioning of the things is right, and then you just jump into details anyways. And then now you're left with this conflict of like, oh, I already put so much time into this, but I think it's off. You know, you felt it deep inside to begin with that it wasn't 100%, but stay loose and stay in the formative phase more. Force yourself to stay in this like loose, sketchy, just placing shapes phase as long as possible. Don't allow yourself to get into the refining until you're 100% sure, because you're gonna create more work for yourself, you know. So you always have this want to just move on to the next stage, you know, the details and the textures. I have playlists. I have tutorial playlists of start to finish creations of a specific project. So there's how to sculpt a woodland gremlin, how to sculpt a dragon, and how to sculpt a robot. I think you should start with the woodland gremlin class. But yeah, it's literally, I will hold your hand through the entire creation of a character. You just have to follow along as best you can, and then tune in and ask questions. So, well, okay, so the dragon tutorial I would say is more intermediate. I would start with the woodland gremlin and then maybe do the dragon after that. But I truly believe one of the best ways to learn from somebody is to follow along in like a tutorial fashion. Like step 1, do this. Step 2, do that. And I think you'll absorb the most from doing that. So, I mean, I learned what I'm doing through doing projects, start to finish projects. You know, I think that's a good way to do it, all the way through to the finish line, you know. Yeah, right. And use guidelines. So, like, you know, like when you're, let's say we have just a shape here. So here's our shape, and there's like an intricate design on this shape. Let's create our center line first, you know. Create your center line. And then you place your, you know, you placing, let's say, a shape like this. Okay, and then we go to the other side. I'm looking at the angle that's created here between the center line and this piece. I can see the angle there. And that's how I can figure out, like, you know, that looks too, that's not the right angle. About right there is the right angle. And you can see, maybe like right there, see? So that would be symmetrical. And it's because I'm looking at kind of like the silhouette of this space here between the middle line and this piece I'm adding. And as long as you're close enough, it's going to be good. You know, like there's a margin for error. And then, you know, say you have like gets a little bit harder with like curly lines like this. Sometimes I'll use this tool and I'll mark kind of where the edge of the loop needs to be, see? Oh, this is actually not my workspace. This is a temporary place. I'm actually in Germany right now. And then you could even measure this out. You know, about right there. And then you can try to, again, think of the angle here. You know, pretty close. Again, you know, staying very loose, non-committal until the positioning looks right, and then you can see, okay, look at the silhouette of this space and this space. It's pretty close. I mean, this one probably could go over just a little bit here. This, yeah, more like, oh no, that's too much. Negative space awareness and the use of guidelines and measuring. Yeah, I'm like less paying attention to my line and more paying attention to the space. You know? Now, symmetry with shape is a little bit different, you know. The volume, seeing the volumes of things, or the length, and you got volume and length to make up your shape, and it just takes time. Your eye will eventually tune into that stuff, and the more you kind of struggle with it, the better you'll get at it. You can also use tools like calipers for measuring to double check your work, they're like, I don't have any with me here, but they're like these devices that will hold a length measurement like this. And then, you know, from the hip to the knee, and then you go on the other side and you measure hip to knee. Yep, that checks out, you know. This is already cured, already baked. Okay, let's clean this up here. I think she'll be ready to be baked again. Let me guess, those wounds on your thumb for wires. No, not from that. Usually from dry skin, when it gets really dry and I get kind of damaged cuticle areas. Not from sculpting at all, actually. It's just probably from the fall air. Oh, really? Oh, jeez. Got a lot of sunlight coming in here. Have to roll the Roladin down. Roladin. There we go. Sunlight invading my space. I guess the sun came out. That's pretty good. Okay, I think she's looking pretty good here. We'll set her to the side and get her baked into the bake oven. Let's work on this guy. I need to get him baked. Started the hairs last. You're allergic to the wires. Are you actually allergic to the wires? You could just use aluminum foil, technically. Oh, I see. The problem is you need to build a structure, something that's solid, that's going to hold the material while you work on it, that you can shape into the shape you want it to be, that's also able to withstand the oven temperature. So it can be anything that fits that type of category. It really just depends on what you're trying to make, because not everything needs a sturdy wire structure. If it's, these guys I'm working on right here don't have any sort of armature. It's just the clay.
Greetings, fellow adventurer. We've got everything you need to rest and refuel.
Mr. OJ. How do you do, my friend? Let's see here. That blood. 146 months. I don't know if you know this was a bit past your bedtime. Nope, I'm in Germany right now, OJ, actually. The fire you fear may be the one meant to free you. Avoiding any fire lately, OJ? I'm in Germany, visiting a family. Looks like you're home. Yeah, we set up a workshop over here while I'm here. I put my workshop inside of a magic bag and I just climb into it when it's time to stream. I believe you can do that. Oh, yes. Thanks, Bagsy. Yeah, OJ's been subscribed as long as I've been partnered here. So it's one of the few people that have been supporting me the entire journey. You're disabled, so wires are too tough for you to bend and work with. Yeah, I would just work with foil then, aluminum foil. You could work with aluminum wire, which is easier to bend, but again, it's It's just if it's easy to bend, and then it's going to be easy to bend while you're working on it, and that's where you can run into problems. So you just got to really kind of tune your designs to kind of fit your situation. You could technically do like aluminum foil, bulk something out, and then coat it with epoxy clay. The epoxy clay would harden, leaving you with a nice sturdy structure, and then build that way, you know. Should I give him like a long ponytail?
Greetings, fellow adventurer. We've got everything you need to rest and refuel.
All right, let's see. Hey. Thank you very much, Hummingbird. Let's see here. So 7 months of support. I appreciate that. It would look too lumpy. It would look lumpy. I mean, it looks lumpy at the beginning when I start too. Where I start with wire armature, and then I cover that with foil, and then I add a layer of clay on top, and that always looks lumpy. And then you delump it by kind of filling in the potholes, and you can do raking or smoothing to get it to be not lumpy, and then you begin this character build from there. So yeah, you just would be basically, you're not doing the wire, you're using a layer of epoxy clay to kind of be the structure, like almost like an exo structure instead of an endo structure. Exoskeleton. Or maybe with some designs, just the foil, strength of the foil alone would be enough. Then you coat it with a layer of clay, maybe bake it, and then start your layering process. Kind of the layer of clay just kind of will hold it all together. Okay, moon dust. There's so many ways to go at it. Just because I do it a certain way doesn't mean it's the only way. It's just the way I do it. The sword of truth is heavy because it's meant to be held with care. Ooh. Heavy indeed. And painful when hit with. Provoking even. Let's not do the ponytail just yet. Let's get it to a baking stage because it's hard to handle right now. It's just a It's called a troll shopping. Well, okay, the word troll shopping in this region or this area is a word to describe the beer after the last beer, where you say one more. The word for that is troll shopping. So this character is going to be the embodiment of the troll shopping. The one last beer you probably shouldn't have had. So we'll probably make him have an arm with a beer mug or a beer bottle. Get one of those Gaston ponytails. Yeah, I just have to decide if it's gonna be it'd be cool to do a mug of beer, but that'd be better done with like a clear resin material. But I'll probably end up doing a bottle. It'd be easier to render well with clay and paint. I mean, we could do a beer mug. It just has to be painted to look like it's made of glass. Maybe like a non-see-through stone mug, even. Peter. How do you do, Mr. Peter? Okay, now we do the... Ooh, wooden one. Actually, yeah, that's smart. Scorch. That's what we do. Wooden beer mug. That can look good. Yeah, it does mean stone. Yeah. Beerstone. Beerstein. 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 Much more casual band name sounding. Hey, what's up, Kelly? Hey, what's up, Rev? Okay. You have to fire Abend here. Something's different from my usual set. Yeah, the whole stream is different. This is I'm in Germany. I'm in a different place. Whole different setup. Another part of the world. Another workshop. Alright, folks. We got a lot of work done on our main piece. Gonna get that baked and locked in. What will be the next part on that one? She's got pauldrons. Probably we have to start working on the arms. Hands and arms. And then after the arms are done, then we do the pauldrons. Thought my beard grew too long. And then we can, after we get the pauldrons done, then we can start doing like the hair and the headpiece. Okay, Well, thanks for joining me, everybody. I appreciate it. I'm going to get out of here, go eat some lunch, carry on with my day. I'll be back tomorrow. It is Trollhead Day tomorrow, so if anyone's interested in commissioning a Trollhead, tomorrow's the day to do it. They all get a nice wizardy box with numbered and signed. You get to pick it. You can pick any kind of character you want made. It can be a existing thing or something that doesn't exist, or a prompt or any sort of idea you want to turn into a head. That costs $75 for painted, $50 for unpainted. That doesn't include the shipping. And if you're from Europe, I can finish it and ship it while I'm out here in Germany, and you don't have to pay for the crazy, shipping fee. So we do 2 of these each Friday while I'm out here. When we're back in the States, it'll be 4 of each Friday. But yeah, so make sure you tune in for that. That's 11 a.m. Central Time, which I believe is 6 p.m. Germany time. 6 p.m. Germany time. So yeah, 2 spots available. If anyone wants to come and claim them, you just got to be here to claim it and follow instructions, of course. But anyways, let's find someone to raid, and I'm going to get out of here. Let's see here. Right in time. Yeah, right in time. There might still be a morning stream. There might still be a morning stream tomorrow as well as the evening stream. I'm not sure. I'll have to talk with the missus here. Can I drop you off today? Boulay. Oh, Charles is on. Let's go raid Charles. Crazy guy. What is he doing awake? Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Yeah, hey Rev, good to have you here. Welcome, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to follow if you're new. Okay. There we go. See you later, folks. Bye-bye.